Hello everyone, I'm Charlotte and welcome to another making of video, specifically the making of this jacket. It's made with vintage fabric that I got from a thrift store years ago, and it has hand-dyed silk lining and then these flowers that I made from the same fabric and some shoulder chains. So let's get to it. The very first thing that I did was cut all of the pattern pieces out and some interfacing, and I went ahead and attached all the interfacing, and then I laid it all out on the lining, and I cut the lining out, but I actually cut it a little bit bigger so that because when you quilt it down, you quilt the lining to the fashion fabric, it actually shrinks the lining in a little bit. And sometimes I actually mark the lines with a marker, and sometimes I just mark them with pins, because like on this fabric here, you can actually see the grain super well, so I just mark it with pins so that I don't have to worry about removing anything later. Check it out. On this piece, I didn't cut the lining small or larger than the piece, and then it actually shrunk up a little bit, and I had to tear it all apart and start all over again. Then after all the quilting is done, I can go in and I can trim all the lining down so that it's not all sticking out all weird and it's the correct size. Then I go ahead and pin that thing together and get it all sewn together so that it looks like a jacket and can actually be worn. Then it's time to bind all of the edges. I prefer to do most of that by hand. And then once that's done, it's time to make all of those flowers that are around the top, which involves cutting out a whole bunch of 2-inch squares of fabric so that I can fold it over and sew them down to make the flowers. These are all the fabric scraps from cutting the thing out. And then after I was actually done doing the 2-inch squares, I did little tiny 1-inch squares that I thought I needed, but I didn't. Sometimes I'll take my time and pin all those down, but mostly I usually just kind of fold it over and wing it and keep sewing again in circles and circles until it's about as full as I want it to be. The next step is to take all the flowers that I made and kind of play around with them and arrange them till it's about as thick as I want it, and then I grab a needle and I start hand sewing those bad boys down. That just leaves the final finishing touches. I'm doing some little dangling chains on the shoulder, and so I've got to take them, put them all together, and I actually put them on a little hook so that the chains can come off and on when they need to be. And then here are some friends of mine graciously modeling the finishing piece, and then some other versions that I made in some other colors. And that's the rest of them. I really hope you enjoyed watching how the jackets get put together. Thanks for watching.